Hi, everyone. Welcome back to week 7, part 2 of English 1302. I just finished grading your R1 final drafts. Be sure you look over the comments so that you're not making the same mistake on the next two papers. Um, I tried to take a little extra time and really mark those up for you so you can kind of see what's going on. I apologize, I don't have a lot of comments, a lot of prepared comments that show that something's good or effectively written. I just have that wood comment that says good. So uh, please assume your paper is an effective paper unless I point out something to you that needs a little work. I also finished grading your D11 discussion post, and I know we're halfway through the semester, but I wanted to take just a few more moments and make sure that we're clear on these. First of all, as you know, all the discussion posts all semester have to be 200 words or more, so make sure you at least meet that minimum. They also have to be on topic, and that was a challenge on this most recent one. The question asked if um, the previous 12 months of your life was written into a short story, what would you most want to change? The antagonist, the setting, the characters, the tone. Explain using specific details or specific examples. If the question, your discussion post has to be 200 words and it has to be on topic. So if the discussion post asks you, what would you want to change? You really can't say nothing. You really have to pick one of the answers, even if you don't want very badly to change it, or if it's not strictly um, an overwhelmingly true part of who you are. Just go ahead and answer the question by picking one aspect of it, and then explain it as best you can. I promise I won't call anyone to double check, make sure your answers are accurate when we're doing this kind of um, personal experience, personal idea type stuff. But do read the question carefully and try to answer it there in the first sentence. And please feel free to use my words. For example, if I were doing this, I would say something like, um, if my life were a story, I would want to change the antagonist because the people working against me, yada, 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 yada. One reason I do this is to make sure that you have the same understanding of the vocabulary words that I do. One of the things I found out is a lot of people said that they would want to change the tone of their lives, which I thought was a great answer. But then looking at their examples, their explanations, I couldn't really tell that they understood what tone meant. Instead of talking about the way it made them feel, the way their life made them feel. They just talked about random events or ancillary characters or something like that. So be sure that you understand. If you don't, take a few moments and look it up. Be sure you understand what the question is asking you and answer it fully and completely. And of course, please don't use AI on this or anything we submit this semester. Your R2 project is the first part is going to be due on Sunday, March the 1st. That's this coming Sunday. And the big part, the final draft, is due Sunday, March 15th. And yeah, remember, late work is not accepted. A couple students asked a very important question last night. I've supplied you, I've given you the outline. It showed you exactly what it should look like. Well, they're asking about the in-text citation. The in-text citation in MLA is for short stories. Now, for drama, it's different. For poetry, it's different. But for short stories, it's just the author's last name and the page number that the quote appears on. Now, if you're doing this from a screen, if you choose not to print out, you don't have to, although I do encourage it, it helps. But if you choose not to print it out, just kind of mentally imagine, okay, if I were to print this out, then this quote probably appears on page 1 or would probably appear on page 3, and use that. It's just helpful for the reader to be able to look it up and verify the quote, make sure you got it right, make sure you understood the context. Um, and I will you don't have to have a works cited page, apparently. Um, nope, you don't have to have a works cited page, but I will post up some instructions and explanations and examples on that for you shortly. I do encourage you to be clear, and usually being clear means being short, having short sentences. Instead of these compound, complex sentences with multiple phrases and dependent clauses and stuff, just get right to the point and then explain it clearly, especially in your thesis and your topic sentences. The outline really should look just pretty much like this, modeled after the appearance and after the wording. Your quiz, your second quiz, is coming up um, a week from this Thursday. The quiz is Thursday, March the 5th. It will cover everything on the syllabus since the drama unit. So all the short stories plus the vocabulary. Now, don't forget, the vocabulary is divided into two parts. You need to know the forms of literary criticism, and that's an overarching, that's a very broad part. Uh, the only one of those that we use very often is, of course, formalism. And since we use it so often, it has its own separate little subdivision. Those are vocabulary words like character, protagonist, antagonist, foil, plot, etc., etc. But be sure you know the definition for both. Be sure that you can pick them out. Don't forget, this is going to be another multiple choice test, and we'll use Honor Lock on it again. So remember that you're studying for a multiple choice quiz. It's not like you have to remember all the details. You just have to be able to recognize them when they pop up. Now, if you're uncomfortable using Honor Lock, first of all, I don't blame you. I would be too. If you're uncomfortable, remember, you're welcome to join me in class. We're taking the same quiz both on that Thursday night and on the following Monday night. The Thursday night class is a 5:30 class. The Monday night class is a 7 o'clock class. We meet in the Lubbock Downtown Center, SPC, on 13th and Avenue Q. We're in room 2016. Feel free to call or email to let me know you're headed up, and I'll help you find it. Okay, so we got the quiz, we got the discussion post, we got the research papers. I hope you're enjoying the short stories. Some of the short stories are pretty easy, like the jewelry. Um, and even AMP is a simple little coming of age story. The Shroud, the story of an hour. Some of them require a little bit more thought. They're designed to make you think. The ones who walk away from Omelas, that's really a deep philosophical discussion disguised as a short story. Jury of Her Peers, same thing. Yellow Wallpaper. In case you're not sure, if you're looking ahead a little bit, the Yellow Wallpaper is all about postpartum depression. And the mistreatment, misdiagnosis of that. It would be very helpful to be able to frame the main idea of each short story in your own words, as well as be sure you know the title, the character, basically what happens, and yeah, that's about it. Okay, and so the semester moves along. We're facing spring break beginning on March the 16th, and we'll have nothing due at all that week. And after we get back from that, it looks like we start poetry. And we'll spend probably 5 weeks on poetry and then wrap up the semester with that. When you have questions, please drop me an email, jfly@southplains.edu, and I look forward to hearing from you.